The sharp sound of a wrench clattering to the ground echoed through the modest garage as Mia wiped her brow with a greasy sleeve. It was nearly dusk, and the single mother of two was finishing up yet another repair job to keep food on the table. Her days were long, her hands calloused, but her heart remained steadfast. Mia had learned to fix cars from her late father, and though life hadn't been kind, her determination to provide for her children never wavered. As she locked up for the evening, she noticed her neighbor, Mr. Howard, pacing near his old sedan in the driveway. He was a gruff man in his late 60s, known more for his solitude than for small talk. Mia approached him cautiously. "Everything okay, Mr. Howard?" she asked, her voice warm despite her exhaustion. The man sighed, his gaze fixed on the ground. "Car won't start, and I'm supposed to drive to my daughter's wedding tomorrow. Can't afford a tow, and the shops are all closed." Without hesitation, Mia grabbed her toolbox. "Let me take a look," she said, rolling up her sleeves. Mr. Howard hesitated. "I can't pay you, Mia." She smiled softly. "Not everything in life comes with a price tag, Mr. Howard." Hours passed as Mia worked tirelessly under the flickering street lamp, diagnosing the problem, replacing a worn-out belt, and jump-starting the battery. Finally, the engine roared to life. Mr. Howard's face lit up with rare gratitude, his usual stoicism melting away. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Just get to your daughter's wedding on time," Mia replied with a wink. A life-changing surprise. The next morning, Mia's life resumed its usual pace of chaos, packing lunches, ensuring her kids were ready for school, and juggling repair jobs. She thought little of her act of kindness the night before. A week later, there was a knock at her door. Opening it, she found Mr. Howard standing there, holding a small envelope. He handed it to her without a word. "What's this?" she asked, puzzled. "Just open it," he said, his gruffness returning but with a glimmer of something warmer in his eyes. Inside the envelope was a handwritten note and a set of keys. The note read, "Mia. You reminded me that kindness still exists in the world. My daughter and I talked, and we want to give you something that might ease your burden. The house I grew up in has been sitting empty for years. It's yours now if you'll accept it, a place to call home for you and your kids." Mia's hands trembled as she stared at the keys. Her current apartment was cramped and in disrepair, a constant worry for her. Tears welled up as she tried to speak, but Mr. Howard interrupted her. "Don't thank me. You've already repaid me 100 times over," he said, tipping his hat before walking away. A ripple of kindness. That evening, Mia took her children to see their new home, a modest, cozy house with a small garden and enough space for them to thrive. For the first time in years, Mia felt the weight of her struggles lift. But her story didn't end there. Inspired by Mr. Howard's generosity, Mia began offering free car repair workshops for struggling families in the neighborhood, teaching them the skills her father had taught her. Soon, the community rallied around her, donating tools, parts, and even their time. Mia's garage became a hub of kindness, where people learned not just how to fix cars, but also how to mend lives, one act of compassion at a time. The heartwarming message. Kindness has a way of multiplying. A single selfless act can spark a chain reaction, transforming lives in ways we can't predict. Mia's story reminds us that sometimes, the smallest gestures, offered with an open heart, can lead to the most profound changes. And for Mia, it all began with a broken car, a generous neighbor, and the courage to give without expecting anything in return.